Hey, welcome in. You're listening to the daily version of the Korelin Economics Report. I'm Al Korelin. Appreciate you joining me. This audio is being produced today, Tuesday, September 13th, exclusively for my friends at Kitco. I got Rick Ackerman with me on the line. Rick is a very, very astute technician, a great newsletter writer, etc. His newsletter is called Rick's Picks. Rick, we have an interesting situation today in the market. Gold is up as we're recording about $13. Silver is up 84 cents. The dollar, however, is down today, but it still is almost 77 on the index. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up, but it's really not up, even worth mentioning, 34.93. The headlines are basically stating that the gold price is higher because of bargain hunting and a weaker U.S. dollar. Well, you can't argue that we have a bit of a weaker U.S. dollar today, but the fact of the matter is, I think that the fact that gold is up goes much, much deeper than just a situation with bargain hunting, for lack of better terms. I mean, people aren't idiots. People are aware that we are in big trouble around the world, and Europe, as you mentioned off the air, is, in your mind anyway, on the verge of collapse. What are your comments?
Well, I think the direction of gold and silver is not in any way uncertain. The long-term trend is up. You have days like we did this week, yesterday, when bullion prices get savage, but I have a feeling that some of the selling is coming from the central bank itself. It's not too far-fetched to think that the Federal Reserve holds some of its assets in the form of gold, and perhaps they have a program to sell this gold when it reaches a certain price, essentially to keep their holdings more or less constant in dollar amount. So, the fact that gold was down yesterday is attributable, I think, in part to that selling, but mainly it's a question of also of smart money, the long-term buyers of gold and silver stepping away from the market to let it cool off a little bit. So, and as far as the dollar, nobody reads anything but the euro's weakness into dollar strength. It's very hard to make a case for liking the dollar, but on a relative basis, when we get these rumors that Greece is about ready to topple, it can only have a negative effect on the euro, and of course that drives the dollar higher.
I'm curious about one thing, Rick, that you just mentioned, and that is you think that the Federal Reserve is actually selling gold right now. Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
And that's based on what?
Well, based on their disdain for gold. If they do hold gold assets, it's always in the interest of the Federal Reserve, the central bank, to keep the price of gold docile, and most they can do is hit it for a day or two, but I think it's really the central bank is actually trading gold at this point, and it wouldn't surprise me if we have episodes like we did yesterday in the weeks and months ahead.
That's a really, really interesting point. It's one that hasn't been brought up very often recently, and I do appreciate you bringing it up. All right, there you have it from Rick Ackerman, what Big Al and Mr. Ackerman think is going on in the markets today. We'll be back with you tomorrow.